Good morning. How's everybody doing? I gotta get a headlight. Headlight. Flashlight. Above my head, because my hat's dark. So is the top of my screen. How's everybody doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Just finishing up breakfast, Hostess donuts, vanilla Coke, everything a growing boy needs. Good morning, Ryan West. First in, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Who's represent West Coast? What's up? Oh, there me. The Bot of Sham, version 42. Harrigan, good morning. Whoa, that's a good one. It's a good one. I will accept that, Ryan. And I will use that text to put it in the scroller. If I can do this. Nope, that's not going to work. Let's see. Bear with me. Uno momento, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put in the question of the day. Question du jour. Which TTRPG changed your playstyle the most? And then, of course, you'll get the most times, most. Doesn't matter. Sean Noir, indeed. Morning, Matt Stark. Good to see you. Thanks, Laramie. Appreciate the compliment. Jeff Walken, good to see you. Morning. Right? A little Parliament. Get the funk out. See, how much do you really know about people? Got some hidden tricks up my sleeve, if you will, after all these years. Orcus Dorcas. Wayne Peacock taking time out of his busy publishing schedule. Bless us with his presence. Good to see you, Wayne. Tyler, morning. I miss the Funkadelic, indeed. Wow, my chat is way behind. The Gray Man, something like that. Flashlight. Kevin, good to see you. Morning. Represent East Coast, I imagine, amongst other people. William, morning. What's with the prison jacket? These things are awesome, dude. I got one of these things from my last employer, like one of these, like, go to this website and pick a gift, and it's like a website with all kinds of stuff. Like, it had microphones, headsets, like clothing, plants, like just a butt ton of stuff. And I picked this thing because it's getting cool here in the Midwest, and I got a gray one that I wrote. Some of the folks that are in the chat that came to GameholeCon might have seen me wearing that. And it's so awesome and comfortable. It's like breathable, super awesome light cotton with snaps. And I liked it so much I bought 2 more out of my pocket. They're just awesome. And because the gray one I threw in the dryer on regular and it shrunk. It's still wearable, but it lost its like. So yeah, man. This I can't rage. I can't rage enough about it. I can't rave enough about it. Gabe, morning. Good to see you. So there you go. That's the deal. That's this thing. But I have not had anybody refer to it as the prison jacket, so. Snaps. I mean, plus it's like the tricky thing in the Midwest when it gets really cold is, what do you set your thermostat at? I know this could be lost on Orcus Dorcas. What do you set your thermostat at in the winter months or even the fall months when it's like too cold for a winter coat, but like not sub below zero where you need to dress up like you're in Antarctica? So this thing is great because it breathes and you could put probably, I have a shirt underneath, it's layers. This today in RPG fashion, Gambison, I will take your word for it, sir. It is quilted, but the inside is, I guess it is quilted all the way through. And it's like some special organic, like cotton or something. I don't know. It's not alpaca wool or something or cashmere, but I would say on the cotton scale, it's like the closest thing to cashmere cotton that cotton can be. Does that make sense? Light armor. I am light armor AC8 with a probably -1 dex. Jackets like that are a must for us in the Midwest, indeed. Where are you at, Jeff? Do you mind saying? Are you in Wisconsin? Or are you just in the Midwest in general? You don't have to say if you don't want to. That's okay. I just figured I'd ask. Hoodie under the hockey sweater. Yeah. I get it. Haven't turned on the heat, but the house is usually around 68. Very nice. South Dakota. Woo-wee. It's cool up there, right? Those plains, man. That's why we get so damn cold. People are like, well, I'm in Colorado, man. It gets cold. Like, we got the mountains. Yeah, at least they break up the gusts in that front that comes down the Dakotas and over and across. Yeah, man. I can imagine. It's a beautiful state. I've been to South Dakota. Rapid City. But at Rapid City, drove through the Black Hills. It's a National Guard 2-week stint in South Dakota. If you guys have ever been to South Dakota and you're looking to get away from the hustle and bustle of some cities, South Dakota's a great place. Lots of rose gold, right? Rose gold. I don't know if turquoise, but rose gold for sure. Evil Merlin, good to see you. Coffee's on. Yeah, grab a seat. California, we move from linen shorts to denim shorts when it gets to a chilly 65 in the winter. Dudes. California. Chainmail bikini. All right, I know. Indeed. Chainmail bikini. Make it male. Saltheart votes it. I'm on the opposite side of the state, Sioux Falls. Ah, okay. All right, let's get into the question of the day. I don't want to prolong this, like, I tweeted this guy, it says RPGs. He hasn't even said anything about RPGs except like it's close to its top, and I don't understand. Like, what is this problem? All right, question of the day. From Mr. Ryan West, right? Was it Ryan? I want to make sure I get the credit where credit is due. Yeah, Ryan West. What TTRPG changed your play style the most? A lot of us have played a lot of different games other than the Ds and Ds. And they influence how we run games, something we might have had an epiphany over and went, my God, I've been doing this wrong. And you know what? To even Ryan's, I don't know if this is Ryan's intention of the question, but some of us might have played that game and then went, oh, interesting, and never played it again. But we took something out of it and then applied it to other games or something along those lines. And then we kind of changed this is the way I always ran my traditional RPG, like Game Master and Players RPG. And once I played this, it made me kind of tweak a thing or two, and now I do it just a little bit differently. I would make up suggestions, but I don't want to influence your thing, if you will. I have my own. And Jeff chimes in first. Dungeon World PBTA. Yeah. How so, Jeff? Gabe says, Weg Star Wars. It recommended starting a game with a script written for the PCs. So the script is, this is what you're going to do. This is how it's going to roll out. No, I'm just kidding. This is a good one. It does define this is where everybody is at and this is what's going on. And action. I like it, Gabe. Wayne says, oof, oof. Because that's how Wayne sounds when he says oof, oof. It's happened several times, but most Dungeon World led me to PBTA and OSR at the same time. Evil Merlin, Pendragon, how so? Saltheart, 2D20 systems and metacurrency and momentum. What? That guy's been hanging around another person for too long. I'm not going to say who it might be. Somebody got that guy's ear. 2D20 systems and metacurrency. Momentum. Interesting. Feng Shui. Fate. Into the odd. All three. So you take all three of those and speculate what parts of those have influenced Harrigan's playstyle. And I guess playstyle or GM style. Did we specify which one I should probably... It says playstyle the most. So, I don't know. It could be playstyle, GM style, right? I always go to GM first. I don't know why. So, Night's Black Agents. Clues never being behind checks. Or is it Night's Black Agents? Because... this is where I'm going to go. Sean, you said like game. You didn't say system. Whoops. Because I was going to say that could be Gumshoe, right? But I did say game, not system, to Laramie's point. See, I'm just predicting the text. Whoops. Jeff continues. The whole idea of story forward play. As a GM, it dropped my prep work by 80%. That's a resume. That's a GM resume builder right there. Switched to PBTA for GMing prep. Dropped, made me more efficient by 80% year over year. Carl, not to be mistaken for Carl Hoos. Vason, dark secrets leading to suboptimal play. Harrigan's going to elaborate. Feng Shui showed the way to empower how empowered players in properly cinematic action scenes. Saltheart says, in addition, all games that adopted player-facing roles. Hate when we spend 10 minutes watching a DM roll for NPCs. Yawn. Well, that's an interesting thing, right? Like, player-facing. Like, my first experience with a player-facing game. Player-facing die roll game, right? Ryan says, my runner-up answer is World of Darkness games. Coming from D&D and Gamma World, it was a different type of game, story-driven over dungeon crawl. I could see that. Jeff says, Fate also opened my mind to a system that was built to be hacked. Evil Merlin elaborates, Pendragon traits and passions mechanics really drive a character motivation and play. You know, that's cool. You have to put those at the forefront, I think, right? Like in Pendragon's instance, Evil Merlin knows better than I since I haven't played or run it. But it seems as though if you put those in, maybe in another game, when they're not at the forefront, they're part of a character's background per se, they get sometimes lost. Orcus Dorcas says it would be DCC, but not because of the game. What? It's from watching those like Brendan LaSalle and Harley Stroh captivate a table for hours with personality, mannerisms, and interactions with players. Dude, they've got a they've got a passion for DCC that I think if you found other people's like have a passion for that they would be they'd be in that same category, right? Each game should have a Brendan LaSalle or Harley Stroh. It would behoove those publishers to find those individuals. RPG Exile. Good to see you. Morning. I would have to say one of the bigger ones for me personally would probably be Dungeon World. And I don't play a lot of it. And it would be the PBTA mechanic system only because of the fail forward. Like, hey, it's not pass fail. It's you can fail with an advantage. You can fail with a drawback. You could succeed. Those don't make sense, but you could succeed with a drawback. And I think some of us have done that inherently in games, but I don't know if it's gotten lost. I mean, for years, you know, D&D 5th edition's been around for 10, 11 years now, and that's a part of D&D 5th edition, but I don't, like when Brett and I were talking about on Gaming and BS, I don't know if we ever knew that was actually written in a book. Fail forward. Like, it's crazy. And it also has player-facing roles, right? Player-facing roles, it kept the players more engaged, and everyone seemed to like the tension of rolling for the event themselves. Absolutely. So, I mean, even with Dungeon World or PBTA, there's a few like fail forward. Playbooks are interesting, even though some would say, well, that's what pre-gens are. But I would argue it's not. And then player facing, like all in just that mechanic and that system. It's not the only one. I would also maybe even say, like, I think when I think about this question, thank you so much, Ryan, for providing it. It's not only influencing your play, but like what you in this kind of comes from influencing play is kind of the outcome, but it's the epiphany that you have in saying, oh, okay, this is cool and this is different. And then therefore you apply that and then it influences your play or even running. And one of those other ones, I think, if I put it in that context, Call of Cthulhu. Like, I grew up not interested in that game at all. Zero. Goose egg. Didn't know much about H.P. Lovecraft. Just didn't. It was the just stigma of, oh, yeah, you go insane, you die, huh? You know, you run into something, you go insane, and you die. It seems boring. And then I played it, and I'm like, oh, it's like the role-playing aspect of that game was like, oh, I got to play more of this game. And I don't run it as much as I should, but it is just, and it could have been just the time of what I encountered and going, God, I'm just D&D'd out. And I'm looking for something different because to me, sometimes D&D in my world doesn't. I can play D&D and role play. As some people in the chat know, I am role player and scene. Like, that's what I like to do. It's fun. I don't cosplay or dress up, but that's an element of TTRPGs that I appreciate. It's not about min-maxing. And I think the reason is this, I'm really going to get crazy and go on a really weird tangent right now. But growing up, I'm thinking I'm like a psychological like thing going on right now. I could get sitting on the couch and I think I could like peel back some layers and kind of come to the conclusion of who I am right now from my past. I grew up in a small town, played sports, and I was one of those guys that was okay. Like, in a small town, the bar's pretty low. Like, I'm not growing up in like inner city, big schools, you know, where competition for athletics is, you know, at a different level. played baseball, basketball, football until like I got tired of some of those things. But in that small town, we always got our ass kicked. Always. We were always the team that was 0-10, 1-10 maybe. And so the winning and losing competitiveness probably influenced of who I am to this day. Like, I don't find myself an overly competitive person. I don't play games and find that a competitive game to me is overly appealing. Like, I know, and I've played with those people, and you probably have too, where that's the deal. Like, win at all costs. They're very, like, you know, they pull out the board game and it's a whole different, like, mentality. That is something that does not appeal to me. And that's probably a reason why I'm not a big fan of board games. Not to say that every board gamer is like that, but the competitiveness of RPGs is not the same because it's not even really a competitive-ish game. So having said that, when I move forward and I look at like D&D and even role-playing, if D&D is like, well, in order to do well, you have to have good statistics and abilities, and the way you have those are plus numbers, and you're, for lack of better words, min-maxing and all that other stuff, optimizing. And that's what that game, believe it or not, with 3.0, that's the way they kind of designed it. They wanted that. They talked about it. You know, Monty Cook had the Ivory Tower blog entry. We saw what Magic the Gathering was doing. We wanted to mimic that thing into a D&D format. Some people say, you know, RPGs have lost its way because it's become more computer gaming. I don't even think that's the case, but regardless, in order to do well, you got to have, I want an 18 strength and I want an 18 dex, and then when stuff hits the fan, it's go time. Which is great if you want to play that way. Fine. Call of Cthulhu, when I was like looking at that, it was like very skill based and role playing, and it was being part of a group where, you know, you were the face person, the rich face person and could talk to people. You were kind of the muscle dumb guy, and then you were like the debutante or affluent person, and then another person was the smart scientific person. And between all of those, you kind of investigated certain things. Then you went insane and died. And that component was different to me than a D&D game. The D&D game could absolutely incorporate all those. But I found that the way in the groups that I had played with, there was a very defined line. So now you've got really like some insight into my brain, and like there you go. There's the RPG tangent for the stream today. Whoops. I went to click and then the chat moved. Kevin says, against the Dark Master has motivations and passions as well, but have found that players really need to drive these. When they rely on a GM with 5 players though, yeah, for sure. Agreed. It's almost like advantages and hindrances in Savage Worlds. Like, yeah, I'll take these because I get more points, and then I can take these points and put them into stuff that makes me better. And then the hindrances, well, they really don't come into play because it's bad. It's like negative. And I don't want to be negative because it brings me down back. Like, I want to win the game. Evil Merlin, also FFG Star Wars dice makes for some very cinematic session and capture the setting well. I also like the FFG Star Wars, for sure, and that was one of those too. I think your participation with Delta Green encompasses the love for COC, Sean. True, fair, yes, I agree. Also with Delta Green, I'd really... one of the things with Delta Green I'm experiencing, though, is like, if I'm running one-shots, it's okay, but I don't lean on the bonds as much because it's like one shot, things are taking place like, hey, it's a weekend and we're going on a trip. Like, I have to have a strong adjustment up here in those, but you're right. Jeff Watkins says, same for me with COC. After meeting some fans of the game, I needed to give it a try. Yeah. Tyler, I have to throw COC in 2. Completely changed my view of RPGs and playstyle to this day. Yeah, good stuff, right? Ryan West, the people you play with affect how you play for sure. My group enjoying heroic RP world building and realistic change in the world. So that's what we do. There are so many styles of play. And to your point, you know, I like Doc. I love Doc. Some of you guys met Doc at Gamehole Con. And I ran Mass and Nyarlathotep for the Doc group, as I affectionately call them. Because Doc was kind of the center of the group and we played at his house. But, you know, Doc he's always been a big 5e player. He plays Shadowrun. He plays lots of different games. He does. I would say his bread and butter is definitely D&D. And when I ran Mass, he played the heavy, which was fine. And he was like a retired military guy, played it really well. And I made it like, I used the pulp rules so they wouldn't get like slaughtered in the first 2 sessions. But it's a different game when you're like, okay, I'm playing with these 2 dynamic individuals over here, and then I'm playing with 2 individuals that are very much on the tactical side. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a dynamic that you have to be aware of. And if it jams with you as a game master, great. And if you can manage it, great. If I was a player, it sometimes can become a little awkward. Like Jeff isn't a huge role player, I would say. My buddy Jeff. He's one of the guys. Everybody has a Jeff, I have heard. And what I mean by that is they're fun to have at the table. And they talk, in character, like they take on a first person character voice, but they don't change the voice, right? They're like having a discussion from their character's perspective that almost borderlines on like third person, just kind of skims that piece. And therefore, I think Jeff gets more of a kick when I role play my character because he likes the antics that I present. Like I don't have to do funny voices to do a character in a role playing game. Like it doesn't have to be, I am thespian, here I am, Academy Award winner stuff. It could be just like, the guy that just never looks at anybody and just kind of, maybe model him after Dustin Hoffman's Rain Man, right? Like just kind of never looks, just kind of has these little antics. Jeff loves that stuff. But at the same time, if I were to pull out the, I wouldn't say Academy Award winning, like, presentation or performance, but it's different. Like if they're not all, there's something to be said when you're Critical Role and you are all voice actors, right? Or want to be, or have been in the acting space. It's different. What would be fun is having Critical Role be all voice, like half of them be voice actors and like 2 of them be like, just not. Oh my goodness. Yes, Sean has launched into a video essay. Well, thanks, Gabe. I hope that's a good thing. Morning all, Tad, good to see you. Sean, I think we've made good progress here today. Let's return this topic at next week's appointment. Jeff is referring to my sitting on the couch and unraveling my childhood and experiences. Well, thanks, Hus. I appreciate it. Playstyle wise, it would be a mix of passions from RuneQuest, Pendragon, and the use of bonds and Delta Green that made me appreciate outside influences impacting your decisions in the moment. Indeed. That is, if used as more, he continues, that's if used as more than just a mechanic to change the outcome of a role. Victor, good to see you. That's why Cats is so important. Yeah. Expectations, right? Acting. Yes. Acting. That's right. Who says, now to find the magic spell to break the players out of their habits and comfort zone. Yeah. Or you can voice act badly and have the table make fun of you, like into the odd game at Gamehole Con. For those that are not aware of Harrigan's tidbit of a joke, inside joke is we were playing Into the Odd. If you haven't played Into the Odd, it's a very interesting game. And Harrigan ran it, and Gabe was in that game, a few others, and it's just it's like a kind of Victorian era. It's got a vibe, right? A certain vibe, and I don't want to kind of get into that because I could misconstrue it, but I just pictured my guy as kind of the guy who walked around, didn't really say much, and he always like talked in harumphs, like yes, yeah, right? Not he's saying yes and nodding in agreement, or his tone, his tone of his harumphs. If it were like obviously you can get negative out of that. So the whole game, that's what I did. I just really never said anything understandable in the truest literate verbal sense of the ways. That's what he's referring to. So, yes. Oh, your voice acting, yes. Hey, it's my stream. I always think you guys are talking about me. But yes, to Arrogant's point, yes. Sorry, buddy. Oh, funny. So anyways, did we cover? So some of the latecomers kind of went off on a tangent. We were going over what TTRPG changed your play style the most. And that could be, your GMing style, or actually playing a game, like playing differently in a game. And some people have talked about some of the ones for some obvious reasons, maybe not so much, but like PBTA, player-facing roles, failing forward, Feng Shui, Harrigan mentioned, and action, and how it incorporates action into play, and things of that nature. So if you haven't chimed in, you want to do that, so we'll want to move on. And then I got into like laying on a couch and divulging some of my childhood and that answers a lot of questions now. Kind of a, therapy session, if you will. Thanks for listening, guys. Yes, indeed. Yes. Like and subscribe. Thanks, Ryan. And Ryan was the one that suggested the question of the day. So credit where credit is due. Leaning on you guys as always. But good stuff. Should we get into it? Where do we start? Where do I usually start? Do I start out of like order? I'm going to start with we'll go with print news. Just want to make sure I have it all. All right, let's get into this. All right. We'll start with no, we'll go with news, not print news. Regular news. Print news. Greg Hildebrandt, famed Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and Marvel artist, dies at 85. So the brothers Hildebrandt, if you remember some of their artwork, you might have had a calendar as a kid. You've probably seen some of the images, even if you didn't own any of them in any way, shape, or form. But, yeah, so some of the things that I got to make sure Greg did, because there's more than one Hildebrandt. The Star Wars piece, right? That was an iconic one that I think I had a poster of that on my wall when I grew up. I had posters. I had plasters. Going back to the childhood. This is to help me as a person, this stream, okay? Just so you guys know. But growing up, I lived at a place that had plaster walls. And if you're not familiar with plaster walls, tacks do not stay. Nails, tacks, they are not good in plaster walls when you're trying to hang things. And I probably had some nasty holes in the walls that we probably never spackled or anything. But whenever I say that because I'd pin up like maps of Greyhawk and the Star Wars poster and my, velvet posters with the black light when I was a kid. And it's inevitable that a gust of wind would come into the room and tear like a corner off. So there you go. Even more insight to like what's going on. Anyway, Star Wars. Hildebrand, Star Wars. So it's Greg and Tim. I think Tim might have been the more known, was like, because I always remember Tim, but I knew of Greg's work, but probably not by name for some reason. And then he did Clash of the Titans, like poster. What else? I thought he had more here. I think the Twitter article, he had some obviously Tolkien artwork that he had done. So that's it. Jeff says the brothers Hildebrand affected how I saw Lord of the Rings in my mind. Yeah, definitely could pick up a Tolkien Hildebrand calendar and just be like, what? And then if you bought the books and they released them and they were like, oh, I got to get the trilogy, and they all had a similar cover that was like, what? They're probably Hildebrand covers, right? And artwork. Hey, Daryl, good to see you. Oh, cool. My stepdad managed a theater. I got all the posters. That's fantastic. Tape works for a while. It does until it doesn't. Plaster walls were a thing, indeed. Yeah, see? Yeah, we got a little something coming in common. Let's see. Next one. In true fashion, we mentioned this before, and I had done a video on it, where the Ennies in 2024, in August, at Gen Con, were talking about doing a Hall of Fame, and they were going to do it annually, but until the next Gen Con, they're going to start inducting RPGs into that Hall of Fame on a month-to-month basis. So the first month, which I think was like obviously September, was Dungeons and Dragons, the king, right? And then in October, Call of Cthulhu. Like, I'm telling you, I think you could set your watch to some of these. Once you get into the fourth or fifth, it might be like kind of a crapshoot on which one might get thrown in there. But so for October, Call of Cthulhu, published in 1981 by Chaosium, it brought a fresh and terrifying new perspective to role-playing games created by Sandy Peterson and based on H.P. Lovecraft. We all know of it. Some of us do. Some of us play it quite extensively. Some of the successors, Trail Cthulhu, D20 Cthulhu, Delta Green, anything Cthulhu-based, Fate of Cthulhu, there's just so many derivatives. Now, some of those derivatives are based on like the mythos of H.P. Lovecraft, and that's not necessarily Call of Cthulhu. But I mean, I gotta say, if it probably wasn't for Call of Cthulhu, I don't know if I would ever know H.P. Lovecraft ever existed. Honestly, and he wasn't like, he didn't have. I don't think I didn't live during that time, but I don't think was like, he's not Robert E. Howard. Like Robert E. Howard put out tons of books and Conan and a bunch of other stuff. And sometimes they shared each other's works because that was kind of the thing that they allowed. I don't know, was Burroughs around back at that time? I don't know. There was a group of them that shared some of their characters or IP amongst themselves. And, but I don't think HP would have been at the level I would know him of. There was a story I had read where it was like somebody kind of came across him and his works and kind of gave him a shot in the arm. And it was like, 1980? Maybe 60s? I don't know. But it wasn't like he was this prolific writer from, his era that became this, and just traveled, went through time and was great. But anyways, I forgot to put these links in the chat, which I will do right now. So there's the one for Hildebrand. Congratulations to Chaosium and Call of Cthulhu for being in the Hall of Fame. Look forward to the next one in November, which is not too far away. Ironically, I found my first Lovecraft book in the early 80s at a church fair. Long before I knew about COC, I was mesmerized. Still have the book. I didn't get to Lovecraft until my fourth college. Was that before or after COC? I would argue that both Lovecraft and Howard only are known today because of advocacy. So I defer to Gabe because he's definitely more well-read than I am, for sure. Only are known today because of advocacy. August Derleth for Lovecraft, Carter, and DeCamp for Howard. Gotcha. Now, see, I would not have known that. Morning, Renade. Good to see you. Let's see what else next. Oh boy. Oh, rascal. Props to Rowan Zioli, and I am a paid subscriber to Rascal. And one of the reasons is because of this article, honestly. Jeez. Oh, man. So this hit the Discord, and some people had brought it to my attention. I went over and checked it out and read the article. So World of Game Design, I had brought up on stream quite some time ago, and it was like, who are these guys? And I tripped across them, and I don't remember how. I don't know if it was because they bought Zweihander, and I'm like, oh, I should go and check out, because I've never heard of World of Game Design. And they bought the rights to the Zweihander from McNeil, right? Publishing. And then I go to their website, it's like, publishing, like your booths at conventions, they will run organized play. They will run convention events or events at conventions and game sessions for you if you are a publisher. Like Mothership was big on this, and Sean hit them up to do that at cons. Yada yada yada. Crowdfunding campaigns. You could hire them to do design work. Like, hey, I'm trying to come up with a game. Cool, we've got our stable of designers and, what have you. So I was always just, what? That is a lot. To me, it's like, the more you do, like, what are you specialized in, right? It gets watered down. If you do one thing and one thing only, you like, that is not, hey, we do this. That's it. You want anything else done? You're over there. So it really intrigued me as a company, like, how are they doing all this and making money, especially in the TTRPG hobby? Like, that's the industry. We all know you got to start out with $1 million to have $1 million or make $1,001. So this article is just, not to get into I'm not going to read the whole article or anything, but let's just say that there was rumblings of events that, like, people not getting paid. So it starts out in late August. Game designer Ian Newsom posted on a Twitter thread alleging that World of Game Design was unlawfully selling his books and owed him thousands of dollars in unpaid consignment sales and had failed to return his leftover inventory. Okay, right? Like, hey, you're going to go to a con. I'm going to ship you a pallet of my books. Please sell them. I'm going to pay you to sell them. They say, yep, sounds good. And then here's the contract, and this is how it's going to go down. And say, to say that things went sideways is probably an understatement. So Rascal reached out for more information, and within hours, Newsom had responded to provide more context. Hours later, another message landed in their inbox. This is at Rascal. This one from World of Game Design's owner, Jared Nielsen. So he is the center of this piece, really. He's the person behind World of Game Design, who describes himself as the cleanup guy, or he did in this email, described himself as the cleanup guy. And they deleted their Twitter account, but, that's fine. And it goes into a lot of things because, they've done work for Modifius, Marvel, Monte Cook Games, Cubicle 7, Tuesday Night Games, and a whole slew of them. And it was just like, the article is, dude, it's even if, like, they did some good investigating. They did some like, yep, we asked him about this. You could tell with Rowan. Like I said, I'm gonna give this guy Rowan a lot of credit. It's not a it's not a hit piece, right? Like in the way that it's like, hey, we're gonna go and ask, and they really like. Jared was in this article. Like they interviewed him, got his side of the story, and they would say, "Hey, we heard this. Your comment, your take," and then he would comment. And I'll tell you what, like it just doesn't. It just looks like debacle. I don't know. So and I say this because they were at GameholeCon like just this few weeks ago, and they had a booth there, and I'm sure a lot of them were running games for some of these publishers. And we know some of the folks had given information to Rascal, some on anonymity, anonymously, because they have like, an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, or non-disclosure agreements. That's what an NDA is. But some other things that are in place during contracts, so they didn't want to like, hey, I'm Sean, and this is what happened, and all this. And then there are some like, I don't give a rip, man. The guy owes me money. Just, I don't know. If you haven't heard about this, it's something to be aware of. I don't know. Oh, maybe they can clean up some of their mess and things go right. Like there's talks of like creative accounting practices, like specifically from Jared, like, well, just, different company entities, one to buy IP but not pay anybody, and just if it smells like a duck, quacks like a duck, kind of thing. So I thought it was, and a lot of like Ian World and a few others have not put this out there yet. Like it's not OGL scandal where everybody's talking about it, but you might see it on YouTube in the next week or so if it gets some publicity. We'll see. Anyways, Orcus Dorcas, you talking about this? Yeah. I knew about Lovecraft because of Stephen King. Interesting. RPG with DBJ was covering world of game design. Interesting. Orcus Dorcas, they reeked of a bait and switch scam to take the money and run. Harrigan going into Lovecraft. All right. So there you go. That's the news. That's what I had for kind of like news that I wanted to bring up this week. World of Game Design thing it's a decent article. Very well done to Rowan. Congrats to them for putting it out there and kind of peeling back it's so strange to me. Like, I don't know. Businesses are interesting because a lot of them don't air their dirty laundry. They just, hey, don't use that company. They're terrible. And in RPGs, they kind of maybe hang out some dirty laundry. And it may be a little non-traditional as far as like but it's a non-traditional business in my opinion. So they actually, Laramie referred to it as it wasn't that term verbatim, but it was, I wish I could pull it up and bring it up in the article. I got to sign in and everything, but it was like, and he admitted to it. Like, it's really complex. There was people that wanted to get in. There's talks of like, hey, I'll work for like $20,000 a year, but I want 5% equity. And I also want to see the books. And then like, well, the books are really hard to understand. And it's, and so they never got into it. And then the 5% equity is, 5% equity in a company that's like $0 is, it's 5% of nothing is nothing. Like it's, what are you getting? So it was a lot of shell gaming stuff, garbage, I guess, in my interpretation. Anyways, moving on, shall we? Let's do bundles quick, because I think there's some bundles you guys should be aware of quick. We'll start off with this one. Corsairs of Cthulhu. I think that was one of the words I was looking for when I was talking about Call of Cthulhu, but this is a bundle that's still, so this is being recorded November 2nd, 2024. This is going to be good for another 16 days, a couple weeks. So if you're interested in grabbing this and you know, bundles are always cool stuff to beef up your PDF collection and come across some gems for pretty low cost. So this is like $8 for Corsairs of Cthulhu, the supplement of Time for Sacrifice, Devil's Swamp, and The Star on the Shore. So you're getting like 4 titles for like $8. All PDFs, digital, no DRM. And so if this has tripped your trigger or been kind of piqued your interest, or you want to know more about it, low barrier to entry. With, your library would already be good to go. So you're looking at 15, 28, $44 retail if you bought all of them. Next one, Delta Green. I brought this up in the Discord. I just happened to stumble upon it on social media. I don't typically do a lot of drive-through RPG bundles. I don't know why, but sometimes they're like, I don't know. I just don't. But this one, I'm a Delta Green fan, so whatever. It's $0. So this is kind of their starter bundle, Horrors in a Darkened Room. And it comes with, let's see, fully playable quick start rules from Need to Know scenario. So Need to Know you can get in print and digital. It has the quick start rules and a scenario in there. So they just ripped out the quick start rules, put it in here. So I don't know if Last Things Last is in here. I don't think it is. I think they just ripped the rules out. Last Things Last is the scenario from Need to Know. And then the scenario is Music from a Darkened Room and From the Dust is in this. So if you don't have either, this would be a good one. It does. Oh, it does give you a Need to Know. So it says Free Starter Rulebook. Yeah, it doesn't say if they kept the scenario in it. I don't know. So it could be 3 scenarios if you count Last Things Last in the Need to Know book. And then it's even got some digital assets, which is usually like $15 that they also give you this. It's a no-brainer. If you're interested in Delta Green. If you have no interest in Delta Green, this is not for you. It's in there. Oh, so you get 3 scenarios, the quick start rules, and then an asset pack. Thanks, Workus. So there you go. Next one. Humble bundle. Humble bundle. Mutants and Masterminds. Supers. D20. If you pay $18, you get 19 items. Like $1.10 a piece, right? Well, that's crazy. Just over. That's a lot of stuff. And then, of course, if you pay a little bit more, chip in for like $20, $25, give some to charity. So the charity is World Central Kitchen. They do a lot of good work. If you're not familiar with them, I followed them on Twitter for a while. So they go to places where, people need food. And it's usually based on some disaster. Could be war, could be natural disaster, but they deploy and all kinds of stuff. Time to feed the people that are having a hard time in that area for a variety of reasons. Next one. And I didn't put that in there, did I? I should probably put that in there. Okay. Next one is Chaosium. Chaosium striking it this week. Plus save your money, right? It's November. Black Friday sales are going to start hopping up. DCC's will have a big one they do every year in November, I think, where they cut things pretty deep as far as cost and price goes. This one is pretty cool. If you are a Call of Cthulhu fan and you don't have some of their leather bound stuff, their limited edition books, they're all most of them are 50% off. The only one I could not find is massive Nyarlathotep slipcase leatherette. Like, it's literally like a 404 page. So I couldn't find that. But all these other ones, Cthulhu Dark Ages 3rd edition, Mansions of Madness, Nameless Horrors, Berlin, the Wicked City, Time to Harvest, all like $50, and they usually go for $100. So Rune Quest is also included, as well as the 7th Sea Core Book 2nd edition, which looks pretty cool. So just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know how long this is going to last. I was like, this strictly one-off sale will never be repeated. They've repeated it before. Don't miss your opportunity to purchase special collector edition to make a great gift. Sale ends November 30th or while stocks last. There you go. I mean, if you're going to buy a Call of Cthulhu or Rune Quest book, if the normal book costs you like $40, you chip in another, $5, you can get it in the leather version. All right, let's see. Next one. I think that was it. That was it for kind of the RPG bundles, if you will. Moving to print news. Let's go to print news. Oh, and I haven't even been doing the intros. Print. You think this is my first stream, by the way? I've never done this before, so. All right, let's give some love. Love. Headless Halloween Game Jam. What? I mentioned this before. Some guy, I don't know. Headless Wraith of Haunted Hollow. So I mentioned Gabe on one stream coming to Gamehole Con. He was going to run Swords and Wizardry. And at the same time, he was writing this scenario. And he was writing it specifically for Against the Dark Master, but he ran it for us using Swords and Wizardry rules, and we had a great time. And now it's part of the game jam around the infamous Headless Horseman and Sleepy Hollow. So this specific scenario is for Against the Dark Master. I'm sure there's other ones that are part of the jam that may interest you, of course, but if you want to get this and support Gabe Dibbing from Analytic Dice, another plug for Analytic Dice. Kevin Salthart is also part of Analytic Dice. Like, there's a tree here, right? Like, where everybody's connected in some way, shape, or form. So check it out. Congratulations on Gabe, a.k.a. Ivrit, for getting this out. Irvit. Always put the R after the V. Okay, there you go. I have to write a SW version for my public. Yeah, absolutely, dude. So there you go. Let's see, next one. This guy and his partner. Old Scroll number 3, A Problem with Pulp for D&D and More, from Kismet Games. So I mentioned Kismet Games before as well. One of the proprietors of Kismet Games is in the chat. His name's Wayne, a.k.a. clever name Wayne, a.k.a. Wayne Peacock, is behind this. So if you are interested, check his work out here. Even at Kismet Games, he's got another one coming up. He's got it uploaded in the drive-thru. He just hasn't made it public, so that'll be coming. So all the work's here, but his most recent is Old Scroll number 3, A Problem with Pulp. And you know what? If you're going to get number 3, you might as well start at number 1 and work your way forward. So get Old Scroll number 1, Old Scroll number 2, and Old Scroll number 3. That would be a bundle I would probably be interested in, like, grabbing. I'm just saying. I don't know. But there you go. Go ahead and check out some of their work. Because, like Wayne, I play with Wayne. Full disclosure. I play in a group with Wayne. And he's, working on some stuff. And, there was like a little time like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, like, on our Discord, it's like, hey, I'm putting out this. Hey, I got this going out pretty soon. So Wayne is stockpiling the releases to be out there. So check all that stuff out. All right. Let's get to the Ian World print news. Starting off with Amazing Adventures bundle from Troll Lord Games, makers of Call of Cthulhu, Castles and Crusades. It's a CAC, not COC. I've never played Amazing Adventures, but it's been out for a long time. And it looks like you can get like $105, probably gets you a few, like the bundle. It says get the bundle and save. So otherwise it's 50, 30, 25 bucks, 10 bucks. Anybody play Amazing Adventures? Next one, 5e stuff from Legendary Games. Tales of the Valiant by Kobold Press. Game Master's Guide and Game Master's Map Folio Tales of the Valiant. It's out now. $60 each. So it's all in one, right? No? Yes. Hardcover supplement / pack of 6 24 by 36 double-sided maps. Okay. Well, there you go. Warhammer 40K, Wrath and Glory. Cubicle 7, $45 for all those Warhammer fans, RPGs. Vampire, Renegade Game Studios Deluxe and Standard Edition. By looking at them, I'm trying to determine which one is which, because both of them look pretty cool. But regardless, I'm sure one in your hand looks different. One might have like leather, right? Anyways, that's it. Those are the ones that I came across. There's probably more out there. Don't be mad at me if I forgot some of those. So let's see. Now I want to know what the problem with pulp is. Well, there's only one way to find out. Wayne, oh yeah, no problem, buddy. That's how he gets you. Yeah, that's what my dad would say. That's how he gets you. That's how they get you. Put it on to get it on there. If my dad knew what clickbait was, I think my dad knows what he's known what clickbait is before clickbait, the term, ever existed. It's called That's How They Get You. I've used Amazing Adventures for inspiration, but never played it, says Tyler. Interesting. Tell me you want a signed copy. Do an unboxing with Wayne stuff. Dice Tales. Almost. Well, Orcus Dorcas is out there in California, and Hoos Carl's up in Washington. So I got a couple people, Dice DT. May I call you DT? Thanks for joining. Almost makes it worth it. I try. Too funny. Speaking of COC, there's a COC Humble Bundle that ends 4 hours. Don't know if Sean mentioned it last week. I don't remember. I think I did. All right. Let's see. Next up. Sorry, we did bundles. We did news. We did print news. Well, then there's only one left, right? Funding. There's only one left.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's see. This one, we'll do this one first. I think, if it loads. Loading. Listen. I'm not in on this, but it intrigues me. So there's 2 books at kind of the core of this, crowdfunding campaign, but they're also revising the core rulebook. I don't know if it's a huge revision or if they're just like, I haven't read it. Some of the people in the chat might know. It may just be, hey, we've had some errata that we're going to put in and we're going to, reprint the core rulebook. So it's not as at the forefront. Also, a starter set that they are also putting out. So, anyways, if you're interested in this, I know some folks that are Vaesen fans are like, I'm going to get in on this, or I'm going to wait until it's printed. My take on some of these now are going to be I'm waiting. They could be the greatest Kickstarter in the world. Unless it's like, I really want to play and run that game, I'm going to wait. Especially if I know it's going to come out. Like, these are going to be on the shelf. I can order them. I will be able to get these. They're not Kickstarter exclusives. Unless there's an exclusive in the crowdfunding campaign that's like, oh, I really got to have that map, and they're never going to reprint the map ever again. And if I go on eBay, it's going to cost me like $300. Maybe. But other than that, as long as it gets funded, which most of these are getting funded in the first hour, it's going to hit the shelf, and I'll buy it. Now, the only caveat to that is they're going to release the print version after, so people will get it most of the times. Backers, not always, backers and supporters will get their copies first. Maybe. We'll see. I mean, that's the goal for most of them. Well, or they could be at a convention and you could get them there before your backers. I mean, who knows? I don't know. But the short story is, I'll be able to get these, and I can just wait. That's the deal. 2025. That's the deal. Sean's gonna hold up. If I get a Kickstarter, or if I kick in on a Kickstarter backer kit, GoFundMe crowdfunding campaign, it's because Delta Green, I'm going to get in on that. Or it's like to support our smaller publisher, maybe that needs some capital up front. I don't know. But it's not going to be very picky and choosy on how I do this. Because I can leave all the headaches away. I can keep all my email box from the 30,000 messages about their campaign out of my email box. And then when it comes out, I'll do print news. And it'll be like, print news. Hey, the Vaesen books are available. Yay. Contact your, local retailer. Awesome. I will go buy them now. So there you go. Check it out. I think it's the City of My Nightmares. Little different. Like, there's Vaesen, but it's starting to take a little bit of a more vampire bend. Baba Yaga and some of that stuff. So they go into some details here. So City of Nightmares is a campaign. Sorry. City of My Nightmares is a full-length campaign, 4 parts. It can be set. It's still set in Stockholm, but you can place it probably anywhere. And then the starter set, and then what was the other one? Mythic Carpathia is written by a team of Polish and Ukrainian writers and editors. So it coming straight from that area of the country in knowledge. So that would be an interesting one, I would find. The campaign probably as well to complement it, but nonetheless, it's starting to get into a little bit more of the old traditional horror. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, hater. So go to the Kickstarter. I'll just link to the Kickstarter. Who says about the Vaesen revision? I think it's minor revisions and clarifications. That would be my understanding. Thanks for the clarification. Who's backed Vaesen in the first 15 minutes? The print level is a very good deal in my opinion. Also, I will say, and give credit to Tyler, some of these will give you, especially Free League, they'll give you like a, if you're the first one in the first 15 minutes, you get like a complimentary print. And you'll probably never be able to get that print again. So it's usually like a little, 2.5 by, 1 foot, 12 inches by 18 inches kind of print, which can be cool if that's something you want to get, and it doesn't cost you anything more. I mentioned a game hole that they were focusing on fixing all the typos and some clarifications in the core book for Vason. Okay, there you go. My wife is behind me, is lurking. She greatly reminded me not to buy anything else. Thanks, Sean. Hold off. You heard it. Mrs. Evil Merlin. Just hold off. Okay, there you go. If he buys it after this, I don't know what to say. out of my hands. See, garden starter set in the works. There you go. Right. Yeah. Aaron and I were talking about the email noise is just ridiculous on some of these campaigns. I wanted to do a video, but I don't know if I have enough emails that I've kept to do screenshots of hey, here's what you should do when you get in on these crowdfunding campaigns. You set up some reason that the flow, the workflows of these are just, they're terrible. And the biggest thing that I find is terrible, not all of them, but some of them are just terrible, is the over amount of communication and emails. Now, some of you might say, but Sean, over communicating is better than under communicating, in which case I would totally agree with you, unless it's stipulated, hey, we're not going to email you 20 times a month. We'll email you once a month to let you know what's going on. And if you don't hear from us, doesn't mean we're not doing anything and we're not working on something. But here's the expectations. There you go. So don't freak out. And I think for the most part, I think Free League does stipulate that. Verbatim. Hey, we're not going to email you up. We're going to keep you up to date. Some are just absolutely atrocious. And the problem with that is, if you get survey emails, if this thing ends or not, it's buried in everything. And every update that you get in your inbox is just update and the campaign. It doesn't tell you update survey for campaign. So all the subject line is just update campaign number 1, update campaign number 2, update campaign number 3. Do it. Just go in your inbox, do a search. That's what that is, especially from Kickstarter. I don't know about BackerKit. Even if they allowed the publisher, which I don't know if they do. If they don't, then it's then it's the platform. So empathy to the publisher. But if the publisher's not changing it with something that's more than update campaign number, come on. I need to know the survey. I don't care what you're running into. Okay, shipping's delayed. I got it. I forgot when you're even supposed to get this. So just send me and frankly, I'm sorry, got my undies in a bundle. How many people have missed survey questions and they're our biggest problem in our crowdfunding campaigns is getting people to respond to our surveys. Well, it's because there's so much junk, and it might not even be from you, great, awesome publisher who respects that piece. It's all the other ones and so, hello, Kickstarter, BackerKit, whatever, platform, GoFundMe, not GoFundMe, Indiegogo, whatever. Put it in there hey, you're going to pledge, put in an email for your rewards. If you don't change this, this is where the publisher is going to send their stuff. Okay? That's it. Then they're going to send out one other email to make sure it's updated. And if they don't hear from you within a week, and let the publisher set that or whatever, that's it. That's what's going to happen. Or here's, put in one email for all the crap and put in another email for your survey to be sent to. I don't know what it's going to take. Set up filters. That's the one thing I was going to try to do is go to my email and set up a filter from Kickstarter, from BackerKit, from whatever, and the word survey in it. Then priority, bold it, send it to this email where nothing goes, and it'll get to me. But I couldn't find, I think I delete them. And I delete them because I'm I want to make sure that when I get them, I've acted on them and then I get out of them because I don't want them sitting around and going, oh, shoot, that's still in my inbox. Did I ever actually do this? Oh, I did. I did it 2 months ago. Okay, good to know. Ooh. I mean, am I right?
Right.
All right. On Kickstarter, every time an update to backers is sent, you lose backers. Interesting phenomenon. Does it? Maybe. For big companies, I'll go for PDF levels for some. All right. I noticed that I'm getting update emails for campaigns I set to watch but did not back. Not a fan. Right. I don't like that either, Tyler. Very annoying. Yeah. It's just, come on, man. I'm getting loads of emails lately regarding games I did not back or watch. There's a web of marketing connectivity, and I hate it. Yeah. Ryan, yeah, to that point. Blood boiling from mass email communication from watched projects. It's just too much. It's too much. Set of, like, let us opt into, like, the frequency or what types of updates. And then if you could prioritize them, like, hey, do you want updates on everything we do? Check this box. If you just want your survey email, check this box. Jeff, I've also had the opposite, where there is radio silence for months and months. There is definitely a sweet spot for communication. I totally agree with you, Jeff. Totally agree. Totally agree. But it is like far and few between, in my opinion. Like they're either off the radar, you know, like, yeah, you're never going to get this thing and it's a complete shit show, or it is a deluge of updates. I think I'm getting updates on Kickstarters I'm not even a part of. Hey, back another project from this person. That's what this show could be, right? Like, hey, you want to know this stuff? Here you go. If you're interested, go back it for $1 and, you know, get all kinds of updates when it comes out and all that other stuff. And, you know, I'm getting overwhelmed. Kickstarter marketing is from a Chocho advertising agency. Right? Indeed. I miss survey emails because I ignore so many that I overlook the ones I shouldn't. It's freaking noise. I've mentioned this before. When I was in corporate America, somebody was like, isn't it crazy? Email, isn't it nuts? Especially internal corporate emails. It's like, hey, the place is burning down. Get out of the building. Tornado warning, like head to the basement, is on the same priority as, hey, there's donuts in the break room. Unless they hit the little exclamation point. It's just noise. Victor says, Harrigan, Backer Kit is the worst. I just have to visit the campaign page once to get on the spam list. I don't have to interact other than just a browse. That's crazy. Offer a monthly digest summary. Indeed. There you go. These are all good options. You know, either there is somebody there that doesn't understand this stuff very well, or they don't care. I'm going to guess it's the latter. Ugh. Backer Kit infuriates me for a variety of reasons. Delusion, also what Laramie says. Even a weekly digest. There's another one. I recently identified 8 to 10 games I bought, didn't have because of the noise and them actually not sending the survey. Don't send me a request to back another project when you haven't done diddly squat on the 3 previous projects. So that's a whole nother ball game, indeed. Donuts? Right. It's like Jim Gaffigan. If you're not a fan of Jim Gaffigan, I don't know what to say. But Jim Gaffigan's great. Jim Gaffigan has a shtick. One of his shticks is like, oh, you know, like that guy, what an asshole. Hey, there's cake, you know, cake in the break room. Cake? Well, I should probably say hello. Because cake brings everybody together. Like, yeah, you know, it's Wayne's birthday. That guy's an asshole. Well, there's cake. Well, I should probably say hello. Oh, man. There you go. That's my rant. Moving on. Okay. Sorry. I just had to get that out. Like, the conversation got me. And I was going through all my stuff and like moving emails around and moving accounts and moving client email, like software client email programs, apps that I want to use, kind of get away from the Gmail. So I'm trying to like set it up properly, and dude, it's insane. Insane. Build your email list, but I can't. This is like email digital marketing 101. And frankly, it's kind of a thing within the RPG hobby space that, you know, I'll use Wayne as a as an example. Sorry, Wayne. Kismet Games, right? Wayne puts out product. He loves the gaming space. His products are great. He puts them out. It's great. But Wayne is probably not digital marketer, promoter. He's probably not like, he's not a digital artist, right? There's things that we just inherently have limitations on. We can't, even these bigger companies, they can't do it all. Bigger companies, maybe they have 5 full-timers. That's a big company in RPG space. They don't have all of like the best practices and the time and the knowledge and all this other stuff. I understand that. I do. Believe it or not, I do. I don't know. It's like, reasonable email marketing is how Kelsey Dion built a fan base. I think I've gotten literally since I bought Shadowdark, which was like way early because I've been kind of running West Marches on it. And yeah, I get one, like once a quarter? And she's like, hey, just here's what's going on. Here's some of the conventions I'm going to be at. But that's the thing. Like, it doesn't always have to be like shoving product down your throat. And I think if you do it well, there is, I used to do this a little bit, just a little, but I'm not a pro. But I used to be, it's like call to actions, a value add, and then an offer. And that's kind of spread throughout. Could be in one email, and then the next one is very centric to value add, blog article. Hey, what's going on? Duh. But it's not offer. It's got to be little sprinkles of this and that. This is all true, not my skill set or joy. See, case in point. I used Dwayne because I knew like he would understand where I'm coming from. Marketing consultants have to justify their pay. Yeah, right? But there's these platforms. It's quick and easy. It's down and dirty. There's no human behind it. We're just going to make it a system. And then the system sucks. That's the problem. And there's nobody that's like a business analyst that's sitting there going, or a product owner that's like, you know what? And you know why? It's because they're not getting this feedback. We're not in mass going, you know what? I'm not going to back your stuff because the marketing from your platform is crap and it's pissing me off. So you know what? That would move the needle. Whoa, wait a minute, time out. So I'm trying to be a... This guy talks about being a positive force in RPG hobby, and now he's just like going on a 20-minute tirade about emails and like, what's going on? I'm not immune to feelings. Okay, just saying. Let's get into this. Let's go into more. I'll get off the soapbox. RPG crowdfunding news. Yikes. So Ian World, they're always great about putting this stuff out, and it's usually in the last week. So in this case, these campaigns are ending November 7th to the 13th. So, if you get to this and you're like, ooh, you're gonna probably have to wait. Either do a late pledge, which some of these will offer, or you're gonna have to wait until it hit the store. Discworld's out there. Where is it at? I don't know. It is at 1.6, on the verge of 1.7 million quid of $100,000 goal. So odds are one of you yahoos has backed this thing. Because there's how many pledgers? It doesn't tell you the amount of pledgers. A lot. The narrativium system uses D100, D20, D12, D10, D6, D4, and a D7A because we can't say its true name. So let's just call it the narrativium die. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. That sounds like a plan. Okay, great. Historica Arcanum, Echoes of Renaissance. 5e plus. 5e plus. funded. Look at that, 270K. 5e getting all kinds of still love on crowdfunding campaigns. Still the moneymaker. Necromancers of Monastis, A True Summoner by Brave Alice Games. D&D 2nd edition. Hey-o. Hey, little love for 2nd edition. I think 2nd edition, like, not to go on a little, I think 2nd edition, does it get enough love? We talk about 1st edition AD&D, we talk about BX and OSE and some of the retro clones. 2nd edition, I think it's a little for the shaft. 4th edition, we've already kicked them out the door, most of us. Some of us have loved 4th edition. 2nd edition, I feel, is like that one that's like, just doesn't get enough love or hate. It's like in this weird, oh yeah, 2nd edition. Oh yeah, I played that once. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Anyways, there you go. 2nd and 5th. That's the combo, right? Okay. All right. There you go. Inspired by Diablo video games. There you go. That's funded 24K quid, a 5K quid goal. Next one, Cheryl Gaiden. Sharago Gaiden? I don't know. Sunflower, expansion, analog horror, neon rot. RPG zine, 60 quid for the PDF and print versions of the core zine and 2 expansions, plus postcards, stickers, and more. So it's not just a zine, okay? There you go. That one's funded. Paint the Town Red. I've been getting updates from Soul Muppet because Soul Muppet is doing Gardens of Yin. So it's like, hey. So I'm getting like, hey, I don't even know how many Soul Muppet Paint the Town Red emails I've gotten. Like, just because I kicked in for Gardens of Yin, I'm like, ugh. Anyways. Built on the engines of Orbital Blues, which I bought at Gamehole Con. Core rulebook. I'm sure it's going to be a great product. Despite the emails from Backer Kid. We've already talked about this, Sean. Rue from Ruin. Lone Werewolf solo TTRPG from Adept Icarus. It's the Lunar Call System. Core rulebook. $29 is the most popular pledge. You've been made a werewolf, but your creator left you high and dry. No pack. You don't know who to trust, and the full moon is coming. It's much more in the tradition of cinematic portrayals of werewolves than most werewolf RPGs. It's called Rue from Ruin, and it's written and designed by myself and Katie Young. It's the only solo game I ever wanted to write. There you go. That's funded. Trash to Treasure, Trash Goblin Magical Girl RPG by Jonathan Boyle. Havoc Engine. Funded. That's it for that 7 to 13th. Also, the Smurfs is still out there. If you haven't backed the Smurfs, Kevin Salthart and the Smurfs RPG. It's out there. Give them a little love. Even if it's $1, even if it's $1, 120K, look out! A 10K goal. It still has 20 days to go. God, this thing. I could have sworn this thing's been out there since like 2 months ago, but I just knew about it early. So anyways, 20 days to go. I am a backer of this thing, Smurfs. Because I'm going to make it like, yeah, my Smurf game. Maybe I should run it at a con. It'll be like Smurfs 80s action Smurfs game using the Smurfs role-playing game. I haven't read the rules, so maybe. Otherwise, I might have to like put in a little maybe outgunned action or something like that in there. So there you go. Crowdfunding. Thanks, Ian World. And, go check out the Smurfs. Oh, and I'll probably put a link in there. Should I? I should probably do that. Ooh, URL is too long. Come on, where share, I guess. I just want to link to this thing without all the freaking referrals in it. Dude. Oh, these guys. I think I can get it short enough there. There we go. Kelsey does it so well. Where are we going? I'm getting caught up on the chat. The whole deal. It's the class that less is more attitude. You perk up when you do see something in your folder. Your eyes don't get glazed over. That's the thing. It's got to be a value. Like, if you haven't seen an email and you get excited about it, why do you get excited about seeing an email? Like, that's what it's got to be. You can't be like, oh, another email that's going to be like nothing. Great. Fantastic. Delete. More Jim Gaffigan content, right? Okay. Vote for Jim Gaffigan. Hot Pocket. Why is he talking like that? My emails, second edition, the best edition. Look at that, love for 2E for efficiencies. Yeah, baby. The often overlooked 2E. Let's give 2E. We should have a 2E day, right? Laramie says, so sitting here thinking, updates. How many people does it take asking a question before it just becomes an update? That's a good question. I think if you get like more, if it's a trend, right? How do you measure a trend? If you're getting the same question, and frankly, to your point, Laramie, if 3 people have asked the same question, there's probably like 9 people that haven't asked it that probably would like to know. So in that case, hey, we've got a few questions about this. Want to make it an update, get it out there so you're aware. A little stuck on 120. Well, that's the low, right? You have a very big kickoff, then it probably plateaus, and then at the end, right, Kev? I've never run a crowdfunding campaign, but I heard that's how it works. That's what I hear. You know what, Kev? You might have to send out more emails. I'm just saying. That's the problem. Hey, let's talk about like crowdfunding campaigns that are kind of stuck. One solution to that is you haven't sent out like 20 emails in the last couple days. They do have a $9.99 option. They have like 10 of those, 7 of 10. 3 people have kicked in the $9.99 option. You are right, Dice Tales. Don't forget links. Did I put the Ian World in there? I thought I put the Ian World in there. Maybe I did not. Oh, man. Let me see if I can. Nope. Let me see. I will get the Ian World. Get the links. Don't forget the links, Sean. And again, and then there's the links. Like all the links, there's too many of the links. I'm planning a Smurfs horror game with the RPG. There you go. Let's get it. Gargamel option is only for true Smurf fans into collectibles. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Smurfs and mechs. Oh, it's just all kinds of things. I mean, Laramie says, if you have 1,000 backers, say 20 people ask a question / want an update, you can never answer every question individually or just push an update. Yeah. Well, it's the 80-20 rule, I would say. It's probably a good rule of thumb. Purple Smurfs, Gnap are a great horror option. Zombies. Smurfing horror. Use FAQs. Yeah, but they won't know where to find them. That's the problem. So the update, I'm sure there's an update. Like back Kickstarter has the update tab. And every email that is sent to you is in that update tab. If you get update campaign number, that is in the update tab verbatim. And you can comment there. So I don't know if that's by default, right? If you do an update, it's going to email your people. That's a problem on the platform if it's not a choice by the publisher, in my opinion. The publisher should be able to make that an option or not. Because if it is, then we could put the onus on the publisher for like, can you stop, like publisher updates, but can you stop emailing them to me? And that's what I'm wondering, Sean. Does the vocal minority drive update bloat? It could. I may be the minority. I don't want to hear from your campaign until I have the book in my hand. Or if there's like a huge hiccup. Like, what do we need to know? Hey, this thing's going. It's on time. Hey, we've run into a snafu. This is the issue. The problem with snafus is it becomes a snowball. Hey, we ran into a snafu with the printer. Update to come. 2 days later, hey, we talked to contact the printer. Still no update. Update to come. Like, there is an over-communication piece where it's like, you're right. In my world, sometimes they say over-communicating is a better thing. But I also think the need is different. I don't know. It's a fine line, Laramie, for sure. I agree. I just find it to... I also think that there are some really good crowdfunding campaigns that aren't spam. And maybe even platforms, to Victor's point and BackerKit. Like, just go there and you're doomed and you're going to get on a list and it's going to be a mess. Another thing that is kind of a bummer, too, is, Kevin, I don't know if you can answer this, or anybody that's in the chat that has run a crowdfunding campaign. Can you export the people from a crowdfunding campaign? Can you export their emails? Because if you can't export, that would suck. And I only ask because get it out of their platform. You know, if you're going to say, hey, we got a Kickstarter coming up. You backed one from us originally. We just want to let you know. Put that in your email newsletter. Some of these folks that are like, I can't understand how Kelsey got like $25 million Kickstarter. She's never been around and never done anything. It's because, and then like Ben Milton, I don't understand how he did names, you know, in second edition, he got like $1 million for the Kickstarter. It's because, first of all, they had a lot of followers. They've done work prior and they built an email list. And so when they're like, hey, just so you know, you've been a fan of us and you have opted in, and this is the stuff we're sending you. And it's not, hey, I'm selling a thing every time I send you an email, because you're probably talking about like your philosophy on games and what RPGs you find interesting and you like my channel and what I talk about and whatever. Then you put in like, hey, just so you're aware, I'm doing Knave. I've done the first edition. You can go and get it for free over here or whatever. And then I'm going to do a second edition and I could use your support. And you put that in an email to the people that really want it. You got super fans, right? Some of you are super fans. Believe it, I don't know, crazy enough to even think about it, but get this and then get it out of the crowd. Like they shouldn't even own your emails. Like get them out of there and then make your own newsletter, put it out there, provide a little sprinkle of this, little sprinkle of that, you know, tell the schedule that it's not going to be every week, or have an option. Would you want the week or do you want the monthly digest? Oh man, I had a dog issue to deal with and Smurfing missed Smurf talk. Yeah, sorry buddy. Sean, I'm on the same page. I delete so many. I got behind in the chat, obviously. See you, Laramie. Successfully funded survey. PDF available prints in hand, signed off, and ETA of ship date. That looks like maybe 3 emails. Question mark. Yes. Like, what do we, right. Or just like, hey, do you want to be over communicated, or like, here's the expectations we want to set. If you want the like super fire hose special, opt in here. Kevin's comment come back. You can, but you are only supposed to use it for the campaign unless you get permission. Opt in after the fact. So you can do a double opt in. A lot of people don't understand what that is either. So what you could do, Kev, not that you are or aren't doing it, but what somebody could do, I will say, is they could do a crowdfunding campaign, export all the people's emails, then do a double opt in, and then send out an email to all those people and say, hey, you're getting this because you supported me in this crowdfunding campaign. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I also do an e-newsletter. So if you'd like to know more about just like our publishing house and what we work on and what we like to do and some things like that, opt in here. Double opt in. You know, it might funnel it and trickle it, but then you got a cleaner list. And then you can use it to market. Set the expectations. Rinse, repeat. They're also respectful with their email lists. They are. The crowdfunding campaigns, they are also respectful. I need you to elaborate, Victor. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Went a little longer. Thanks for hanging out, guys, for those of you that stuck it out. If you haven't given a like or subscribe, please do so. I stream every Saturday, 8 a.m. If nothing is of a conflict. I appreciate each and every one of you. Oh, Kelsey and Ben. He's referring to. Got it. Yes, they both. You have to. It's a trust factor. And the problem is if you get an unsubscribe, you don't know why. You're not sure. They're just not interested in the newsletter. Well, is it because you did too many? Is it not enough? Maybe my email is just like too much and I don't want to have that. It's okay. You lose a subscriber, whatever. But you can't abuse it. That's the key, I think, to what you're saying, Victor. Have a Smurfy day, folks. See ya, Kev. See ya. Sean, thanks for being a positive force in the industry and for your time. Have a safe and wonderful weekend, everybody. Indeed. Thank you very much. For everybody that has shown up to this fine day, this fine fall day, because I think it's officially fall here in the Midwest, because last week was like a tidbit of summer yet. But thank you very much. And I want to thank all of these fine individuals for providing a few shekels each and every month from their pockets. Thank you so much via my Patreon. So if you're interested in hanging around with some of the people in the chat and on our Discord, we have a link somewhere. I think it's in the notes. I only say I think because sometimes they expire because of spammers. But nonetheless, but I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up. Go out, play some games. Don't let the world beat you up. Take some time to yourself if you need to. Spend times with people you appreciate. Keep the ones that you don't at arm's length. And, we'll see you next week. Be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. Thanks. See ya.
Right.